Nailed it.
As long as it's running.
I think that was my issue, was that thing. Nope.
You want to get the other stand?
What other stand? That one?
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna. I don't think that one's any more adjustable than this one. I think it's just how much weight your mic has, and there's nothing holding that down. Dude, that doesn't make any sense. We had it before. I hate. There, wait.
Fucking stay.
Put it along that back leg, like. See if you can get some kind of weight on it. Just let it lean. See if that helps at all. I mean, let it sit flat. Pull it up as far up as it towards you.
Here.
Yeah, wait till it's flat and then just let it lean on it. I don't know if it's gonna help.
It's better than it was.
You gotta keep your foot on it the whole time.
I could do either.
Back to this. I'm gonna let this rock because we know this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, check.
Hey,
check.
hey.
Seem pretty even, as long as we stay pretty even.
Yeah.
All right.
We send my last text here.
Yes, please silence all cell phones before entering the theater. We can talk about that too. You know what's going to be out and coming tomorrow, right?
Oh, yeah. I got my tickets for Friday because
I'll spoil it for you then.
no, that is my biggest fear.
I'll be sending you clips from the theater tomorrow night.
Oh, that is my biggest fear is that like when I go or like if I wake up, good Lord, when I wake up on Friday,
If I wake up.
when I wake up on Friday is my fear that if I open up social media, I'm going to see some kind of spoiler.
Deadpool spoilers.
Yeah.
Deadpool. Captain Deadpool. No, just Deadpool. All right, you ready to rock? Now that we
Yeah.
wasted a minute on bullshit talking.
Yeah.
You think?
I
Yep.
think so.
Levels look good, you think? Check.
Hey.
Yeah, as long as we
Yeah.
keep distance and volume here. All right, then. In 3, 2. Hey, I'm Bob,
I'm Jake.
and welcome to
Nailed It, the podcast.
We're back for another wonderful episode here in the dead-ass heat of summer.
God, it's been awful
It has.
with
It
this
has.
heat. I'm
Uh,
not a fan of it.
No, I don't know why. The old joke is in the winter you say, "Why do I live where the wind hurts my face, the air hurts my face?"
Yeah.
I feel that applies to the summer. Also, the heat is so bad.
Yeah.
Why do I live where the air burns my face?
Oh my God. Well, like for me at work, because our warehouse doesn't have central air. So
What is a warehouse?
it just feels like a swamp the whole day.
Get out of my swamp!
Oh
That
my
was
God.
Shrek, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm available for parties. Terrible.
Yeah. With this heat wave we've had for the past week.
This last week going to this recording wasn't nearly as bad. At least we had some rain, but the end of June through like this second week of July was ungodly hot.
Yeah. Degrees in the mid 90s in the hundreds. And
Yeah, real feel was in the hundreds and felt like you're on the surface of Satan's butthole.
yeah, I was not
Yeah,
a fan of this.
Not cool. So we're past that, I think, a little bit.
A
Feels
little
more
bit.
like summer.
Yeah, it actually feels like summer where you can go out, be a little hot, wear a tank top, and be comfortable.
As long as a breeze blowing, maybe.
Yeah.
And get home to my AC, like here in the studio.
Yeah.
So what's been happening on your end? There's probably one bigger thing we'll talk about, but let's go over the other things in life before that.
What has been going on? Let's see. Let me start with projects. I've played a couple solo shows between last recording, which was
About a month ago.
I was listening. So it's funny, on the way here, I was listening to old episodes to see what we last talked about,
Oh, okay.
to see
So you clearly remember what we talk about each time.
Not at all.
Not at all.
I did have a story though, because listening on the way here reminded me of something that happened that I had a story for.
You have a story about our old podcast?
No, something that happened that in a prior episode I had mentioned was coming up.
Okay.
So not on the last episode with Dave, but the episode prior. I had mentioned that Dave and I were going to be doing this neighborhood party.
Yes. Oh, yes. The 4th of July weekend.
Yes. So it came up to that date, and I'm getting all the information. The lady sends the address to Dave and I click on the address, pull it up. And on my GPS it says it's about an hour, 15 minutes away, which is common for where I live in relation to
Right.
anywhere I play.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. And so when I looked at the GPS, it said it was going to be at such and such address in Halifax, Pennsylvania. Cool. I know, that's not far from Harrisburg. So I made a whole thing out of it where I went and got my hair cut up in Harrisburg. And then I went up I was going to go to the show. Well, I get my hair cut and I'm like, all right, well, I'm only 20 minutes from this house, this neighborhood party. And I take the turn to drive up this hill. It's this gravel road that my little Ford Focus can't even make up.
Oh boy.
My tires are spinning. I'm grinding my way up to the top of this hill, and I pull up in this person's driveway. This don't look like a party. I saw at least 3 rusted abandoned cars.
You may have been in the wrong place.
And I come up, there's 2 kids playing in the front yard. I come in, guitar in hand, knocking on this person's front door.
Oh, sweet Lord.
I see here this guy comes up, wife beater, basketball shorts, pit bull. And he's like, who are you? I said, I'm here for the party.
Oh, boy.
He's like, what party? I was like, in this such and such's house? He's like,
Oh, dude, that's so scary in this day and age.
I ran back into my car and called the person. I was like, where am I supposed to be? So then she's like, I sent you the address. And here the GPS pulled just the street address and took me to the closest version of that street address from the Harrisburg area. And come to discover, it wasn't in Halifax. It was in Edders.
You know nothing from the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Every town has an Elm Street.
Right? Well, yeah, this is very true. So I was supposed to play at like 6. It was 5.
Oh boy.
And when I finally found out where the actual address was in relation to where I was about a 45-minute drive.
Coming in hot.
Yeah, so I told the lady, I was like, I'll be there as soon as I can, but I'm 45 minutes away. And she's like, that's fine. I said, if anything, if Dave's there before me, have him play before me. Like if you're that dead set on starting at 6, have Dave start before me. Luckily, I got there with the power of a lead foot. Got there at 5:30, and got everything set up, and it was all fine from that point. But my prediction was correct in the previous episode that I played, Dave played, and then the 2 of us played.
Which is what you guys should have just done from the start.
Yeah.
But hey, what do I know? They didn't know when they booked you. They booked you separately, not knowing you guys were a band together. So
2 bands.
Well, yeah. Not knowing that you guys could play together.
Yeah.
So
that was my little adventure for that party, to follow up from a previous episode.
You had a good time? The party was...
It was fun. So it was actually a backyard party. It was like a private party. I thought it was a neighborhood block thing, but it was just in this person's backyard. They had like some lobster roll truck there, and
they went nuts.
Oh yeah, they went all out. And it was a fun time. Everyone was super fun. They were all having a good time. Had people shouting out requests.
That's the way
some stuff I've never played and stuff I haven't played
now.
Well, that, and somebody yelled for New York Groove. Like it's because I was wearing an Ace Frehley shirt.
Okay, I was like, well, that's super random.
Someone asked for Kiss, and I was like, okay, I've done Kiss, I can do Kiss. And then someone's like, New York Groove, and I was like, okay, little bit of an obscure one, but I've done it before.
Let's get it on.
Like I've done New York Groove multiple times in an old band,
right?
So I wasn't unfamiliar with it. I just haven't played that song in forever, and it didn't translate very well to acoustic. But people were having a good time, and that's all I really cared about.
Well, that's cool.
And then people love Dave because he does his whole thing with his drum buddy or whatever that is, his drum pedal.
Yep, old Beatmaster Dave. He loves to beat it.
Well, now he's got a whole new thing.
Yes, I'm aware of this too. I actually also looked into this, although I haven't found a viable way to use it. I
don't even remember what it's called.
Show, I don't know, Jam something. I'd have to look.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it's called, but it was neat. Like it's neat for what it is.
It's essentially it's a karaoke track for acoustic guitar players.
Yeah.
It has all the parts laid out. You can take in and out whatever. You could take the leads out if you don't want them, the backup vocals, anything. You could just have a drum beat and some backup harmonies. Like it, I've only played with the free version, which lets you only hear snippets of songs.
Right.
But I looked up Boys of Summer because all the extra stuff, and it has the backup vocals there, and you can feed them in it loud as low as you want. Lead guitar, 2 different rhythm guitars,
right?
A lead, just the lead, like the piano part that's in that, or harp, whatever. Like, it's a company that sat down and re-recorded all this stuff, or broke them down into stems that you can make in a karaoke track. There's a fee for it.
Yeah,
there's a monthly fee, which he's all Jam Zone. It's called
Jam Zone,
which he's all about. It's $20 a month.
Yeah.
If I was playing 4 gigs a month and I used it all the time,
right,
it's super worth it. But you also have to be dead on time with that.
Right.
It replaces having to have a drum machine. If you've got the songs you want,
right,
it has you could literally just have the drum beat if you want.
Yeah.
But I can see the appeal of it, and I saw it work. It was like his first night using it or second. So
yeah,
I saw the appeal of it, but it would take a lot of sitting down, which I don't. If I primarily only played acoustic gigs, I would be all over that.
Oh yeah.
But it's a neat tool, and I'm glad somebody thought of it.
Yeah.
And he seems to be enjoying it.
He had a blast with it, and we did. Like when him and I when we played together at the end of that night, we did a couple of songs together using that. Like we did I Remember You.
I'm doing it wrong. I have terrible timing. Like my internal timing is awful. So if there's any way to have a beat, a drummer, something, or another guitar, someone keeping me in check, I'm all for it.
Right.
Especially when I'm by myself. But I think you're more apt to have mistakes and errors in front of everybody with that.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have awesome time with it, at least right away. But everything's a learning curve. It's not like we're playing, Carnegie Hall acoustic and, you made a mistake. That guy's never going to work again.
Right.
I don't think they care at the falls if I make a mistake.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think it's a neat thing.
Other than that,
you, sir, were a guest appearance on another podcast. Our good friend, our good friend Dave Gates and the Soil Musicians podcast. That was that same weekend you recorded. That was it.
That was the day after. Yep.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if you guys have not listened to that episode, that is the Jake of all trades episode. It's number one. Jake is an excellent guest for normally being a host. And I actually heard a story or two on there that I've never even heard
really on
this podcast or in our just being friends. So it was nice to hear you do an episode where I learned something I didn't know.
I don't remember any. I'm trying to think of what stories I told on that show.
Well, we're not here to talk about Dave's podcast.
This is true.
Love you, Dave.
This is a podcast about a podcast.
Yeah, it's a podcast about someone else's podcast.
That sounds like a Seinfeld episode.
It does.
Like if Seinfeld came
back.
The
podcast.
Yeah, it's just called The Podcast, and it's a podcast about nothing.
Yeah. Talking about podcasts. I so that was excellent. So anybody has a chance to go back and check that. If you haven't listened, the tens of you that are listening to us, and if you haven't listened to any of Dave's episodes, I highly recommend it. Not just the one I was on or Jake, but I mean that man knows how to interview, and he's talked to some really cool people.
Oh yeah.
And we are trying to figure out when to get him in here with us. It's a matter of his schedule matching ours. So
right.
But it was always the plan to have Dave on as a guest. So that will be coming down the road. Whenever he has time, and then at that point we'll just make it work. But so I know you had that going on.
Yep.
Obviously 4th of July came and went. I didn't do a whole lot of extra over the holidays. I played a show at the Naughty Goose by myself.
Did I do any? I have to refer back to my calendar.
That same day that you guys played that party, I was at the Goose that afternoon.
Yes,
had a good time. Little warm out, but it was a breeze blowing. I do love playing the Goose. Just spent a lot of time at the camper. I had some Ghost Light shows in between there since the last time we had a recording, and I had to actually, I got a little summer cold the last 2 weeks. In fact, I'm gonna lead us right into it.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago,
was it 2?
I believe 3 weeks ago, we had a show at Thursday. We had a show at our Sickman's Mill show. We have it every once a month in the summer. And my voice I felt it coming in my chest. Like I knew it was a problem. And I like to tell the crowd when I'm terrible. So I let everybody know that we went on the show. We play that set 2 hours straight.
Yeah.
I said, as we were going, I started to tell people, I was like, look, I'm a little sick and it's starting to take a toll on me. So I'm going to go as far as I can without cutting the show off. I ended up having to cut about 2 songs out of the set, but it only cut us like 3 minutes short of our time.
Right.
and I was feeling rough. So that Saturday we played Burning Bridge, and I asked you to see if you could step, if you were willing to play the set enough. I know you knew most of the songs and help me out, which went great, I thought, considering I was a lot rougher than people seem to think I was. They were trying to figure out why you were up there.
Yeah.
Like why I kept saying I was sick. Trust me, folks, my voice was not doing well.
Yeah.
And that went quite well enough that when I woke up that Sunday morning, Ghostlight radio show was supposed to play at Lee's Landing in Port Deposit from 12 to 4. I felt like a truck hit me when I woke up. In fact, when I was packing up Saturday night, and I couldn't even barely speak.
Yeah.
So I made the decision there that I was not going to be able to do that show. There was no way I was doing a 4-hour gig. And you were here, actually. You had
I was sleeping downstairs.
And I texted you from upstairs, which I normally give my wife shit about, and asked if you'd be willing to do it. And the guys were okay with it. So you went and did the show for me.
Yeah.
In place of me, or whatever, however you want to call it. Why don't you tell the folks how that went, or those turn events on your end of it?
So, like you had said to me about you not feeling great and not really having much of a voice before the Burning Bridge gig, and like I offered, if you need me, let me know. I'll obviously come up and help. And then when Sunday morning came around and you had texted me saying like, hey, I can't do Lee's Landing.
No.
And I personally hate to see shows get canceled, whether it's my own or somebody else's. And as soon as you were like, hey, would you mind doing it? Absolutely. Because I don't want to see a show get canceled. I don't want of any caliber, like I said, myself or friends.
Right.
And so as soon as you asked me, I was like, absolutely, I'll go and do it. So I left that morning because I think you said we had to be down there by like 11 or something like that. Yep. So left here at the in the morning. The whole way down, I'm listening to all the songs because guitar wise, fine.
But singing some of the songs you've never done or not done more than once.
I'd say 75% of your set list I've never sang.
Not anymore.
And like I knew I could sight read the chords because I did that the night before.
Right.
And I was fine with that. But having to sight read lyrics was a big factor, because that's why I was listening to all these on the way down, because if I could read the words, awesome. I just had to get the melodies down.
Right.
Like 2 Tickets to Paradise. I knew the words, but it's just the cadence and the melody that I needed to refresh myself on.
As singers, you think especially cover singers, you think you know a song, and then when you try it, you realize maybe there's parts of that you didn't know as well as you thought.
Absolutely.
Without singing, when you're not karaokeing it, you tend to forget sometimes what the melodies are and how exactly the cadence of it is, and whatever that particular. And some songs are a breeze,
Oh yeah,
anybody can sing "Sweet Caroline," without ever singing it before.
My God, yeah.
But such as I know you had mentioned to me, "Semi Charmed Life."
Oh my God,
yeah. Well, and that's a song that has a certain way about it. I guess in my head, I've been singing it now for too long, and it doesn't even click with me that sometimes that would be something someone would have to pick up on.
Yeah.
But you don't do something, That's the same as me learning something new. If I don't already know the song, I better, I got to put some time on. I got to have it in front of me at least a show or two.
Yeah. And so Semi Charmed, obviously that vocally was just a train wreck for me, because there's so many words to that song, and all I know is do 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 do.
That's right, folks. And those of you just listening, the little dance he did was amazing.
My little move,
little jazz move.
Little jazz fingers, little snaps. That and Just What I Needed.
That's got a weird timing to it too. Not just the words, like that the opening E that they do.
Yeah,
it's 3 singles and 3 doubles. Like it's the simplest things that can mess you up, and then coming in the right time, that comes in an offbeat.
Yeah.
The vocals start on an offbeat, and it's just, that took me a little bit of time to get to, and I've known that song since I was a kid, but it took me some time. We only just recently brought that back to the set list. I just moved on to other things that were seeming more popular, and Rich let me know a few months ago that's like one of his favorite riffs to play.
Yeah.
That he learned. He's like, why'd you cut that? I'm like, just for time, but nobody said you bring it. I don't mind playing that song.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that you don't really think about.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you guys obviously got through it. And like I had said, on the interwebs and whatnot on the socials, I don't cancel unless it's like deathbed. Like I can count on one hand how many shows I've ever canceled because of being sick. I normally can sing through being sick.
Yeah.
Singing's there's a way to sing with like head congestion and chest congestion and get through it. My body was absolutely wrecked. I couldn't have.
Yeah.
Not COVID, folks.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. I think I just had like, I don't know, pneumonia. Anyway, I don't know. Doctor would have told me that if I'd have gone to one. And then here we are 2 weeks later, and I'm still trying to push the cough out. So maybe I am dying. It's fine. We all die sometimes, folks.
It's all right.
But I cannot thank you and the guys again for enough for covering that. That could have been a disappointment for everybody, including the bar. And instead, you especially were able to go and save the show. And that goes a long way for a lot of reasons. So I do, once again, now that we're in person again, I'll say, I mean, we've seen each other since then, but I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
That, however, led to a discussion between myself and Rich and Andy and Doug about whether or not we should add you on as a permanent member of the band, as it went very, very well. And we all had a good time. And those guys needed to see, they are all aware that you and I do acoustic gigs together and that we've done Nailed It gigs together and that we've performed together. We sang together, we harmonized together, we do these things.
Yeah.
Everyone, especially Andy, was completely unprepared for how good that would sound because he just didn't grasp him that we'd done it before.
Right.
In his head, I think he felt like, oh my God, these guys have never done this and look how good this is. No, we didn't just go, wow, click right away. But that's like the one lacking thing in Ghostlight has been, not for lack of Rich or Andy trying, they're not backup singers.
Right.
And even if they were, they're not singers.
Right.
You, on the other hand, are a singer in your own right. And on top of that, we've played together and you know the material and it just works really well.
Yeah.
That Burning Bridge show, you and I passed songs back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Basically ones I knew you could do.
Yeah.
And it just seemed well. So I brought it up to him. I said, if you guys were into this, I think we should, if Jake's into it, we should ask him if he wants to be part of the band. And they were all, well, let's see what Jake has to say. So I brought it up to you, and I don't think you took 2 seconds to be like, yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think I had said over text, like, you just give me a couple minutes, make sure like dates line up and stuff. Because, for the past few months, I have been very busy, but that was all with acoustic shows.
Right.
And once I kind of, got all my thoughts together and made sure like, okay, this can work and this will fill out my need or want to play out.
Well, and that's kind of what it did for me too. When I started, it was all of a sudden there was a schedule that I was not used to. And we are busy.
Oh yeah.
We're a busy band. And as anyone who listens and knows us, we both have several things going on, but I still find time to do those. And this is still, for lack of a word, this is almost a working band, except we all, that's not true. I can't say we all. Two of us have day jobs.
Yep.
Andy's working to be retired. Rich and Doug are already retired. Scotty, our sound guy, Scotty has a day job too, and a pretty important one at that as far as music goes.
Get to see him every day.
But it keeps us busy, and that was one thing I want to make sure you were okay with.
Yeah.
It was never about whether you could play the songs or do the stuff, and it was whether or not you were available or how many shows we'd have to do in the future without you until you were. But turns out your schedule, the dates you need off were already cleared off because one of them is a show that you and I have.
Yeah.
In the whole Nailed It band's playing. The other one was a day you had an acoustic gig, but I'm off for one of my Fell From Zero gigs. So it didn't end. There was a gig you had to remind you were doing with Dave to cover me so I can play with Ghostlight. As a wedding, actually. So that's a 2-show day. You might have to play the early one with us.
That's fine.
We'll talk about all that. But going forward, the schedule just happened to be that you didn't need anything except for last weekend when we played. Where did we just play? I literally was just on stage with the boys. Staring.
Where the hell was it? What?
Well, no. Between that, you came Thursday night and played Fiorentino.
Yeah, we did Fiorentino.
Which theoretically, or in very literal sense, was your first show with us.
Yes.
And we kind of told everybody this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then we played Saturday night somewhere, and I'm seeing it in my face where we were, and looking at the set list, and
it was a party. It was a private party, wasn't it?
Oh yes. The private party for Rich's friend Brian, which down in Lancaster, which is amazing farmlands this guy has. He's turned into like a solar farm, and like it's an old like 100-year-old farmhouse, and everything was super cool. We had a good time there.
What was with the inflatable dinosaur?
That was someone at the party came out about halfway through our second set, and just all of a sudden there was a T-Rex dancing with
Hell
everybody.
yeah.
It was a good time. I mean, we were laughing, having a good time. It's nice to let loose, have a party. You can have a drink or two.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have you're not under that bar constraint, but you're still there to do a job. And
Yeah.
we had a really good time. So you couldn't view that one because you were at the Breaking Benjamin show in York, which we're going to get to because I know everybody's wondering what my thoughts on the show were. And let me tell you, they're exciting because I wasn't there. Then this coming weekend, we have another show, a campground show, Spring Gulch in New Holland, which you're not going to be able to do. But beyond there, the band's actually off till the 18th of August.
Yeah.
For my birthday's coming up, and Doug's off for some things. So I guess technically your first official month starting will be next month.
Yep.
Fiorentino's, weirdly enough.
Fiorentino's.
So this, I guess, is our podcast way of saying Jake's officially a member of Ghostlight Radio Show. We are the 4 have become 5, and I'm very excited and looking forward to the opportunity to share vocals.
Oh yeah.
And not just the stuff about the backups. There is now a much more qualified guitar player in the band than me. I'm going back to playing acoustic for songs to add to the level of sound and the layers we have, and just being able to work new stuff in and do different things, or you singing perhaps songs that I used to sing to change the feel of it. That renews things. And healthy things going forward. All right, and just today I booked a couple shows for next year for us already.
Yep.
Which we are. It sounds crazy to people. Why are you talking about next year? It's July. Ghostlight is booked through the end of the year into the beginning of next year already. We don't mess around. Our schedule will probably be filled by middle of the spring.
Yeah.
So that's what you got to look forward to.
Sweet.
Lots of stuff. We have a lot coming up too. We got stuff still down Northeast next month, and we got another Goose show, another Wellwood show. We've got another Lee's show, I think, in September. We got a campground show, Craft Haven's Labor Day.
Yep.
We got a lot coming. So I mean, you got something to work for. So that's I think our biggest news of the last month, 3 weeks, month since we recorded.
And I will be, as we call it, going to church on Saturday.
Oh yes, you are. The reason he cannot play with us Saturday, he's going to see Beartooth.
I am
without me. He's going to the.
This is the second time without you.
He's going to the gospel retreat without me, and I just can't go. In fact, my wife and my son are going to see Hailstorm and I Prevail at the York Fair Saturday.
Yep.
Another show, if Beartooth wasn't playing, I would have liked to go to. But unfortunately, I book a year out with Ghostlight, and people expect you to be there. So
I was just talking to a coworker about that show, the York Fair one.
Right.
Hailstorm, I've seen 3 or 4 times.
Me too. Never been disappointed.
Oh yeah, I've never been disappointed by them.
Even back in the day when they were playing the Tourist Inn.
Yeah. I've seen them. Oh God, when was the first time I saw? It was in Lancaster.
Oh, okay.
At the convention center.
Yep.
It was them in New Medicine. Which we'll get on that then. And then I saw them open up for Alice Cooper. Which that was a weird lineup. It was Motionless in White,
Hailstorm
and Alice
Cooper. I remember
Cooper.
seeing that bill. Some other people I know saw them too, and they're like, "Man, that was also." Some people were there to see Alice Cooper and Hailstorm, had never seen Motionless, and just went on and on about how good they were. I'm like, love them or hate them, their live show is pretty dope.
Well, so I had known of them at that point. Like I knew who Motionless in White was, didn't know what they sounded like. The only reason I knew of them was because my little cousin Camry was a diehard fan of them. And all I would see on social media, she would post pictures of these guys, and I was like, well, all right, they look like a Marilyn Manson knockoff. And then that was kind of it, because I was just being ignorant at the time.
Right.
And then I saw them at that show, and I was like, whoa, these dudes are cool. And then, then they put out that album that just sounds like Breaking Ben. And then they...
Disguise.
And then I saw Hailstorm for the 3rd time with you. Jen and Lauren.
Yeah, they're a solid band, and I'm sure and Hollywood Undead's on that show, I believe, and it's going to be a good show for people. But as I explained to my wife, if for some reason my show falls through at the last minute, I'll be joining Jake at Beartooth. I'm not going to see I Prevail again. I'm trying to do this thing where I don't keep repeat spending money on bands I've already seen. There would be exceptions. Had I been off last weekend, I would have seen Breaking Benjamin again.
Right,
would have made lucky number 14, but. Couldn't go.
Have you seen them 13 times?
13 times.
Holy hell!
I count the one acoustic show I saw Ben do alone as part of that.
Okay.
But yeah, I've seen the band 12 times and him do a show with his bass player once. So
I'm trying to think who I've seen the most. I think Alice Cooper's the top of that list. I've seen him, I think, 8 times.
Yeah,
Seven or
taking
8.
out local bands that maybe I was friends with, like Bullet
Right.
Method or Negative Space, I lost count how many times I saw those bands.
Right.
Not just because I enjoyed that because they were friends. I was a fan of those bands.
Yeah.
I loved going to see them. But true national acts, I don't have anybody else in double digits except
Breaking Bad.
except Breaking Bad. Beartooth is now crawling up there. I believe I'm up to.
I think you said 8.
I'm at 8. I've seen the last show we went to was 8 times. So
This will be 6.
let's see, it's getting you close because
Baltimore was 3 times. Philly. Oh no, so this will be 5.
5.
Yeah, so this will be my 5th time seeing them.
Yeah, I'm that last show in Baltimore was 8. So
I had to
I'm
laugh
getting
at
there.
that. I had to laugh at that. I was another thing I was talking about today. That we've seen Beartooth together 3 times in Baltimore. All 3 times have been at different venues
Right.
as well.
Soundstage, Ram's Head, and Pier 6.
Yeah, Pier 6 is such a
That
cool
was so
venue.
cool,
I'd
yeah.
love to see another show there.
Yeah, me too. That's a good outside venue.
Yeah,
Spring or fall though, no
it
no hot ass summer shows anymore.
And now with my career field and being a lighting technician, knowing how lights react to that kind of air being by the water just makes me cringe. 'Cause I know that
they're
it-
just up there getting ruined.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, condensation.
But yeah, that's I am. Jealousy's not the right word. I mean, I could have figured out a way to go to the show if I had to, but it'll be weird because I'll be getting videos about I Prevail from my wife and son, and then I'll be getting Beartooth stuff from you. And meanwhile, I'll be like, "Hey, campers, are we having a good time? You guys like Neil Diamond? Anyway."
Anyway, here's Wagon Wheel.
Yeah. So here's Wonderwall. Thank God we don't play that. So I don't know why we don't play that. But I digress. That's not even what this is about. Yeah. So I mean, we've got some stuff coming up too, right? I got my big birthday party coming
Yep.
up first
Yep.
weekend at Craft Haven. Got Hot and Dangerous playing. Our friend Travis is DJing some cool stuff in between. Unless I get somebody last minute, looks like it'll just be that. I'd had an opening acoustic thing lined up, but it just didn't seem to work. And I'm saying this for the record. I refuse to play a set on my birthday. And that's why we are not playing a set. I'm already taking sound gear down and lights. I don't want to do extra. Every year we either play or I get roped into something at my own party.
Yeah.
I just want to have a good time. Now if you show up and, Heisy's actually running the board for us. So, if somebody wants to get up and jam before they go on, hey, go ahead. But I'm not playing a set. I think I'm leaving my guitar at home. He says,
Yeah.
I'm actually taking vacation. I'm getting a tattoo next Tuesday.
Yeah.
In fact, the very our logo for this podcast, the backwards hat wearing microphone, I'm getting done. Not just because I believe this podcast will take us to new heights. Who knows?
Add a rim shot in there.
Yeah, we'd have to record more than once a month for it to get any traction, but it just seems like me to a T, at least the last few years.
Oh yeah, the
It's
backwards
just the hat, the
Yeah.
microphone. It's the old Shure 55.
Yep.
Which the same as with yours with a bandana on it.
Yep.
And I just felt like something I want to get tattooed and I haven't done in a while. I'm also going to get my first Beartooth tattoo at the same time. So, good times. And by next time we do a recording, I'll be talking about my fully healed tattoos and showing them off on camera. Be good times. But yeah, I'm actually taking vacation from that tattoo appointment on through my birthday. So
Nice.
I'm not going anywhere but the camper. Who am I kidding?
That's kind of vacation.
It's not work. So
Yeah.
I'll work on some stuff. Been itching to write some songs lately.
yeah.
I'm not going to get it done. I just have an itch.
You've just been wanting to do
Or
it.
finish some songs or whatever. That'd be nice. So, and then we're going to roll through some time off and then into, I believe the next time I get on stage is our show at Fiorentino's. I could consult my digital calendar
Digital
right here.
device.
The thing that's usually attached to my hand at all times. It is August, right? Yeah. Well, it will be August. Lies. I play.
Lies.
Oh, I am playing Sunday Fun Day at the Victory Club on Sunday the 11th, which is before our first
Okay. Yeah.
gig
yeah,
back.
Yeah.
I'm playing, I believe, 12:30 to 3:30.
Sunday
There'll be a
the
food
11th.
truck, a big barbecue, this raised barbecue food truck, which is amazing. Orange Crush is on special, all kinds of stuff. And non-members, Non-members are allowed, folks, so I can sign people in.
You said that's the 11th?
Sunday the 11th.
I might see about coming out.
Because in the following week you're in full time. We've got 3 shows in one weekend, buddy.
I saw that.
Fiorentino's, and then the Wellwood, and then Lee's. So you'll be spending the weekend at the camper because we play Wellwood, and then we go back to the campground and hang out and sleep and get up and go play Lee's Landing. So
Lee's Landing is a very cool place.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Yeah, I guess that was your first time there, huh?
Yeah,
very cool. Cool.
I also didn't realize where it was because, like, we've obviously driven through that road,
and you didn't know it was down there.
No.
Down there at the pier. Yeah.
I don't know if I told you when we went down there for that show, there was a puppy adoption event going on.
Oh Lord!
At the same time,
there's always things going on down there. Did you bring home a dog? Is that what the story?
I almost did. But like I got there was just like this big gate of little puppies just running all over the place, and it was so hard to focus. Because I have a soft spot for puppies.
Don't we all have a soft spot for puppies? So, well, yeah, we definitely got some stuff coming up. So,
yes.
Let's talk about what we've decided. Now we're abandoning our format this week.
Yes.
Unless we just go into like top 5 songs by this band or something. But
yeah,
for the most part, we decided we were not only going to make the announcement about Jake joining Ghostlight Radio Show, but Jake was at the aforementioned Breaking Benjamin show at the York Fair this past Saturday.
Yes.
Which I got message after message after message. Hey, man, where are you? Hey, man, here's a picture from the stage. Hey, man, are you going to the show this weekend? All resounding no's. I don't think people understood that I had to play, and I don't think they just assumed because it's Breaking Benjamin, well, Bob's going to be there. That's just his thing. And yes, I would have been there. However, Jake was there, and it was his first time seeing them live.
Yes.
So Jake has a lot of thoughts that we're going to talk, and I'm going to dissect and tell him if he's right or wrong. As the aforementioned Breaking Benjamin expert. No, I'm not an expert. I know a lot of dumb shit about Breaking Benjamin. So tell us about your experience.
So let's see. Where should I start with?
Let's just start as you got there for the opener. I don't want to talk about how what a clusterfuck the York Fair is for getting in and out of shows, because I was there the next night for my first country concert.
Yeah.
I didn't touch on that. I went to a country concert, folks.
Oh, yes.
Went to see Lainey Wilson. My sister Patty was down from New York to go. My brother came, ended up getting a ticket last minute. We brought up my camp daughters, Alex and Taylor. We had bought them tickets for Christmas as a gift. And my wife and I went. We saw a ton of people, clearly, from York County that I know because they all like country. Yeah. And let me tell you something. I make jokes about country. People make jokes about me singing country. If music is good, it's good. And my God, that woman can sing.
Yeah.
She's also very easy on the eyes. I'm not trying to hide that from anybody.
It's quite fun to look at.
But the stage show, the setup, they had a whole ass like old red truck on there. She stood on the hood or on the roof or in the back, sang. There was a whole thing where she was sitting in the cab.
Yeah.
And they used the cameras to do a point of view from inside the truck on the screens.
Yeah.
Like almost video. Like the video production was amazing. The musicians were amazing. It was just an excellent show, and I just kind of sat there thinking, what a good vibe.
Yeah.
What a good time. There was no angry rock music or, which I love and puts me in a good mood as well.
Yeah.
But the vibe is different when people were moshing and throwing around, like just everybody singing along. And I knew like 3 of her songs, don't get me wrong, but it was a great time, and I would absolutely see some kind of large scale country show again, as long as it's something I think will be good.
Yeah. I've been to a couple country concerts, and the very first one I went to was at the York Fair. It was Eric Church.
Okay, I know you're a fan.
And
you stood in line with a sign, for God's sake. Anyway, that's a whole different story.
And I was the same way, like, because all the concerts I've been to prior have been like Alice Cooper, Misfits, Wednesday 13, all these heavier bands that you mosh at. And I'm standing there watching this, enjoying every second of it. But it was almost like I compare it to that episode of SpongeBob where he asks, when do they start kicking? That's how I felt, where he's like, kicking? I want to do some kicking.
Right, and it just never comes.
Yeah, but it was so different in a good way that you can just stand there and enjoy the show.
There was an enjoyable vibe. There was you weren't going to worry about some idiot running into you or moshing into you or pushing your girl over or pressing you back into the fencing. Like, everyone was just there to have a good time. Yeah, sure, there were some drunk people concerts, but it was a totally different vibe, and I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Especially considering I was supposed to see Hardy a few weeks before that, and I had to back out of that.
Yep.
And I think that would have been a slightly more rock and roll country concert. But I'm glad I had the experience to do something a little different. In fact, this Friday I'm going to see Ludacris at the York Fair.
I keep forgetting about
So
that.
I'm going from country to hip hop in the span of 4 days. So who knows? We'll see. I'll talk about that next episode. But back to your Breaking Benjamin.
Yes. So to start off the show, the opener for Breaking Benjamin was a band called New Medicine, which I had seen. God, I think it was either a freshman in high school or
that tracks. That's probably when they first came out.
Yeah.
That time frame would put it about when I saw them too at the community club.
Yep.
And I wasn't honestly overly impressed with them. They were a good band, but I thought, especially the single they had out at the time, which I can't remember the name of now.
Was it Race You to the Bottom?
Might be, but they came off to me as almost they were trying to be like a Sum 41-ish.
Yeah.
Like they were trying to write Fat Lip as a single, but the rest of their songs didn't meet that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad. It just wasn't my thing. There was other bands that day that I was far more into. I've never seen them since. So now we're going to fast forward 12 years.
Right. Yeah. So I had seen, like I said, I had seen them back when I was a freshman in high school. Which, God, yeah, that's got to be going on 12 years.
12 years. You're probably about 14 then.
Yeah. They were opening for Hailstorm, as I said earlier. And at the time, I thought I was all about it. Because, again, it was that, like, angsty, teenage music.
You were the demographic.
Yeah, I was the demographic for the music that they were playing at the time. And I was all about it. With, they had their songs like Rich Kids and Race You to the Bottom and American Wasteland and stuff like that. And so when I saw that they were the opener, I was like, oh, sick. Like, I didn't even know they were still together.
It's fun. Just a total sidebar of that. Now I'm thinking about it, that show, we had gotten in with our friend who was working for the X at the time. So we got to do the backstage thing.
Yeah.
So we got signed like EPs from every band. There was like 4 bands. I have like 3. They just kept giving, they're just taking. I have like 3 signed New Medicine CD, like EPs or singles or something somewhere in my garage. Like, again, I forgot I had them till this minute.
So I was pretty stoked to see them again, to see what they sound like, because I knew that they had like taken a hiatus, like not long after I had seen them years ago.
Maybe that's why I've forgotten about them, because they weren't playing.
Yeah, so they were on a hiatus for a very long time, and I'd say about three-ish years ago, or like right before COVID, or somewhere in around this time frame, they had gotten back together and released a bunch of new music. Hadn't listened to it. I had heard snippets online and I was like, all right. Not what I remember them sounding like, but whatever, people get older.
Music changes.
Yeah, music changes. So when I saw that they were the opener for Breaking Benjamin at the York Fair, I was like, sweet, I can see what they sound like again and see if they hold up to what they were like when I had seen them all those years ago. And they came out, first song, I don't even remember the name of the song. Immediately had this very douchey feel to it. Like they felt like modern Limp Bizkit in their prime, where it was just douche central, where the singer's coming out and he's like, this song, we have the world record for saying fuck, like, and it's like, all right, stop. Like, they just were annoying. It was annoying. It was cringy.
I'm annoyed I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I'm just now hearing this story, folks, and I'm annoyed.
And like every song he had a story about in the like before they would go into it, but it seemed like he was saying the same thing for every song. And I'll preface this. He was saying everything, like every song he said was about his mental health and everything, which if you want to write about mental health, absolutely go for it. If that's your exit.
Yeah, never.
But when you say this song's about my mental health and it has the world record for saying fuck in it, and it's like, okay, stop. Like that's not like, to me, that's very condescending.
Yeah, that's not.
And it just had this douchey feel to it. And then, as you had heard, then they come up on their last song and they pulled the plug on him because they were running over time. And
probably because he was talking about saying fuck for a world record every song.
Yeah.
Lost themselves 3 minutes anyway.
And so then, they cut him off and he runs off stage and it gets in some kind of altercation. No, I couldn't see from where I was at. And he comes back and he's like, we're going to play this fucking song anyway. And then so they continued to play the last song, throws the mic on the ground, flips the crowd off, flips the sound guy off. And then that was the end of it.
Real professional.
Yeah, and I was like, that's exactly where my mind went, was like, all right, these guys are douches, just like they portray on stage.
Right.
And I kind of lost respect for them. Music wasn't fantastic. It wasn't what I had remembered it being. You know, I still enjoy the songs that I had heard back then, like those 3 that I named earlier.
Right.
I'll put them on every so often when I'm in that kind of mood. But they just weren't my thing, weren't my sound. And the people I was with as well, they all said the same thing.
I thought it was a weird pairing, but as I hadn't seen them in so long, I wouldn't necessarily know what to expect.
Yeah.
But now I'm hearing I didn't miss anything. In fact, I would have been probably angry about it.
Yeah.
So nobody needs to be angry going into a Breaking Benjamin show. There's no anger in that music. Everything's so cold and dark. Anyway,
one could say it's so cold.
So cold, yes.
So then they ended, thank God, and then it was time for Breaking Ben. And I was very excited because, like we had said, I had never seen them before.
Right.
I had seen next to nothing more than I had seen
Breaking Next to Ben. Nothing, for those who are just tuning in to my life, is my the band that I front, that we we specifically only play Breaking Benjamin songs. People call it a tribute band. I am weird with that moniker, but if that's what it is, we're a Breaking Benjamin tribute band, I guess. So that's Jake's largest live experience of Breaking Benjamin, was seeing us play.
Yeah. And so I had no, like, I knew the songs. I've listened to every album, not leading up to it, but in passing. I have listened to all the albums. There was one day I had to work a Saturday and it was just me, so I put every album on just in a row and went through every album. So it wasn't like other shows where I had gone in only knowing, 2-3 hits and then that was it. I knew what I was going to be hearing, but I wasn't expecting to hear the songs dead on to the records. When they came out, and they come out with the first track, which was Failure, I think.
Yeah, because they use the intro. The recorded intro to come out to that. There's like an electronic or a pre-recorded intro, which, if I remember when I saw them back in March, the guitar players do start playing along to it.
Yes.
But it is running a track as they walk out.
Yes.
Because there is a long intro on that album, and then Failure's the first song.
Yes.
So that's how in fact, that's how we do it at our shows.
Okay.
Even if we don't open with it, we open Failure with that
with that track.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they came out, opening song Failure, and right away I was like, this sounds like, obviously it is Breaking Benjamin, but it was like, this is Breaking Benjamin. This is what I would expect them to sound like live. Ben was spot on. Every member of that band was spot on. I did like that his kid was on stage with him for the entire show.
There is the thing that I missed out on, I've never seen, and that's probably, while I've seen this particular show, in fact, when you sent me the set list, I'm 100% certain that's the exact set list they played at the show I saw, because I was taking down the note as each song. But that wasn't something that happened when that was the first show of their tour with Daltrey in the spring.
Yeah.
Even if his son was in the building, because it was in PA.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to be on stage when they were still working it out.
He had said a couple songs in, he's like, "This is my son." I think he said his son's name is Ben.
That might be.
And he's like, when we're on tour and he's got to come with me, he's going to be out on stage because I'm also a dad and I'm on dad duty. And if I'm not watching him, nobody's watching him. So he's going to be out here on stage with me.
That's cool.
And he had him decked out with one of these. And
of course he did.
This thing's as big as him.
I don't think they make a baritone kids version. Defeats the point of the long scale.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But yeah, he's up there strumming to all the songs. Guitar's not plugged in.
But he's playing.
He's got the mic up at him, and there's a cord running out. I don't know if he's running into the board or anything, but it was one of those like heartfelt things, because you'd see him look at Ben, and if Ben has his hand on the mic, the kid's got the hand on the mic, and he's mimicking every move that his dad did.
I'm sorry. Now I'm really sorry I missed it. Beyond just the regular wish I could have been there.
It was cool. There was also a point in the show where Ben went into this whole monologue talking about how he loves seeing the generation, like the people that grew up listening to them, seeing their kids in the crowd. And he had all the kids come on stage.
I saw that. In fact, our friends John and Sherry their daughter Riley, his daughter Riley, her first concert they ever took her to, she's one of the kids got pulled on stage.
Was she on there?
Yeah, so shout out to John and
good.
his little girl Riley.
I didn't see John. We saw Sherry, but I didn't see John.
Yeah. He had her up front, I guess, on his shoulders, and Ben.
That's awesome. I wonder if I know I have a picture of the kids on the stage.
She's actually wearing headphones.
Was she the one wearing the shirt that said, "This is my first concert"? Oh my god! So that's funny because Andy.
I saw the pictures. That's how I know. Yeah.
Andy pointed it out. He's like, "Look at a kid wearing a shirt that says this is my first concert."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're talking about the same kid, but Riley was up there, so that's cool.
Huh? Oh, okay, that's cool. I'll have to text them. But yeah, like the show itself, it was fun. It was heavy. It had all the aspects that I would expect a Breaking Ben show to have, and like there were moments where like I wanted to mosh, but I didn't want to wake up the next morning in pain.
Right.
So, but it was just such a good show. And you said, off recording that people were texting you saying that this is the best show they've seen them.
Yep.
Play.
I heard that from several people that have seen them multiple times. The same people that were super surprised I wasn't there. Have not seen him as much as me or as often.
Yeah.
I had some friends that haven't seen him in a few years. Yeah. My son was there. Jesse was there. He realized he hasn't seen Breaking Benjamin in it might be 10 years since he actually saw them.
Yeah.
He used to go with us to shows and stuff, and even he said it was an amazing show. I think I missed out. I'm glad I got to see them on this tour cycle.
Yeah.
But I think this might be the pinnacle of this tour. I hate to say that unless they're going to do that kind of level, but
yeah,
when they were at the fair years ago, I want to say 10 years ago, maybe. I forget when it was, 2012 maybe. They headlined the fair one night, and it was at that time the best show I'd ever seen.
Yeah,
there's something about them playing
hometown show.
Well, just the state fair type show where it's not this big huge arena.
Yeah,
but you're still holding 20,000 people if you need to.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I'd heard there was an 11,000 person attendance. Roughly.
I believe it.
Now apparently Lainey Wilson was somewhere. I've gotten conflicting reports. Somewhere between 15 and 17,000 people.
I'll have to ask my friend. I have a friend that was actually running the spotlights for Lainey Wilson.
Okay, and then I heard that the country concert that was there Monday night, a guy named John Party, who's apparently pretty well known. I mean, I know a couple of his songs, but I wouldn't. He capped out at like 4,000 people.
Really?
Yeah. So
I know one song that he's done, and it's not even his song. It's a cover he did.
Oh, well, that'll do it.
It's a cover he did of "Wherever I May Roam," the Metallica song.
Yeah, I know. I know what we're speaking of.
It's on that collection that they did.
He was part of that.
Yeah. Because the one that has like 7 different versions of the same song.
Right.
Yeah. John Party did a version of "Wherever I May Roam," which it's not bad.
It's just not good.
Yeah.
It's not anything you went back and listened to more than once, twice, maybe.
Right.
So.
But yeah, overall, that Breaking Ben show was unbelievably good. I had such a good time.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that from multiple people, especially from you, especially know it was your first time seeing them live. It makes me just sorry again that I didn't get to go because I would have loved to experience that with you.
Yeah.
But I also am like, wait for this. And I'm kind of glad I wasn't there to ruin it for you. I will say after seeing the set list, I'm glad that they're still doing Dear Agony.
Yeah.
They included that on this. Well, technically they're going into their fall tour with Cedar and Daltrey, but they're going to essentially do the same songs.
Right.
But when I saw them do that in March, it's the first time they've included it in a set list, like as a regular.
Okay.
I'm under the understanding they may have only ever played that song once before live.
Really?
They don't do it live. Ben is another song that Ben, from what I understand from interviews, didn't think would go over live.
Oh,
and he did not understand how popular it was with people outside of seeing people were playing it and stuff.
Right.
I mean, I literally have a tattoo of lyrics from it on my arm. Like, that's my number 2 Breaking Benjamin song.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see that stayed in the list, and I'm glad other people got to experience that because the other songs, they're all great, but they're literally up there just playing their hits at this point.
Yeah.
If you don't know their hits, then what are you doing at a Breaking Benjamin show? There's very few stuff in that set list you sent me that is like off the greatest hits album, basically, for lack of a better term. But that's what people want to hear. So I go do Next to Nothing.
Yeah.
We don't really do any one-offs. We do a couple old songs that we want to play that they wouldn't do anymore. But depending on what time frame we get to play, it's got to be your Diary Janes, your Failures, your Island Out Battles, Polyamorous. Everything was a single.
Yeah.
You got to play. And they're doing. I think they're at that point. They're doing that, and they get over it. Did they do any covers?
No.
See,
or at least not to my knowledge.
Every show I did, they break into something in the middle. I've seen them do the Imperial March from Star Wars into like another cover. I mean, at one point they had a whole thing set up in the middle when they did that at the Star Wars thing. They had LEDs in the back going red, like
Oh
lights.
yeah, no,
Like
they didn't do
they
that.
planned that out. But I don't. Now that I'm thinking, I don't remember if they did a cover when we saw them in March. I think I'm thrown off because Daughtry did Separate Ways
Oh
alone without
yeah.
Lizzie being there, which it worked.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, I'm pretty cool with that. But I did take a note of the Breaking Benjamin set list. I'm going to see if I can find it here while we talk. But so you obviously you would see them again, given the chance.
100%. Given the chance, I would 100% go see them again. They were phenomenal. And yeah, is this the set list?
This is the set list from my show or the show I saw. Yeah, I mean they started with Failure and ended with Diary.
Yep.
I'd have to compare it to the one you sent me, but I'm pretty sure this is.
Here, I actually have it here. I got it.
I'm pretty sure they're doing that. Why wouldn't you? You're doing a festival or a fair, and you got one night to go at it. Why not do the stuff you've been doing for a couple months and get it going?
Yeah, it looks like we got the. Oh no, there's a couple on here that I have that you don't.
Such as?
So, well, I'm just going to run through it here. So, for those listening, this was the set list for the York Fair. We have Failure, Until the End, Red Cold, Evil Angel, Blow Me Away, Follow, Sooner or Later, Angels Fall, So Cold, Dance with the Devil, Crawl, Breath, Polyamorous, Without You, Dear Agony, Simple Design, I Will Not Bow, Had Enough, and Diary.
You got Simple Design?
Yeah, I got Simple Design.
Son of a bitch, I missed that. And you're like, and you know what? Actually, Sooner or Later I missed that. Sooner or Later was at this show.
Okay.
So that was probably in the same position, and I didn't get it. Man, Simple Design? That's one of my favorite songs off their second album, dude.
He just throws the phone and leaves.
Dang, man, I missed that. Now I'm pissed. Oh, no, I've seen him do it. I saw him back when it was a new song. I saw him pretty much do that whole album. They only had 2 albums, and it was easy to hear all the songs.
Yeah. But yeah, like, and again, I had listened to Breaking Ben for years, and finally getting to see it was very, very fulfilling. I should say
rewarding. It can be, yeah. Well, yeah, shouldn't concerts be fulfilling? Shouldn't they be rewarding?
Absolutely.
You've been to shows where like I'm not as into this as I thought,
right?
Or an opening act or whatever. So it's tough. I've had all those shows in these years. I had a couple of shows. There were some mid shows from Breaking Benjamin I saw.
Yeah.
I mean, just a couple of years ago, they were the opener for Korn.
Okay.
Upstate. I forget where we were, Allentown or something.
Yeah.
And the set was solid. They got like opening band sound. It was like real mushy and muddy. And I was like, this kind of sucks because there's people in this room that never saw this band for tonight, and they're not getting to see the band.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to see Breaking Benjamin not be the headliner. Only maybe 3 times I saw them. They were direct support.
Yeah.
Over the years. So, and I saw them first time I saw them was a community club. Like I saw them in some small joints.
Yeah.
Moving up. So, and I've gotten to play some places they played coming up upstate and stuff, doing their songs. Very weird. But
did I ever tell you how I discovered who they were?
Oh, I can't wait to hear this story. No, you did not. You have not mentioned this before.
Oh man. So, oh God, I got to think back to God. I was in elementary school.
Oh, all those years ago.
I was in elementary school.
So 20 years ago.
Actually, here, I could tell you the year.
Oh Lord.
Because
he knows the year. There must be something wrapped around this story.
There is. And when I tell you, it won't surprise you in the slightest. 2008. I discovered them in 2008.
So 7-ish years after they broke.
Yes. So, I had also recently at that point in time just got into watching wrestling. And they were going to run a TV special that was kind of the highlights of WrestleMania 24. And they were showing highlights of the main event, and they linked it to, or they did a whole highlight video to Until the End. And
that's how wrestling brought you Breaking Benjamin?
Wrestling brought me Breaking Benjamin.
Okay. However you get there.
And like, I will forever remember, just like, I still have it on DVD. I taped it off of TV, and then I converted the VHS to a DVD just because I wanted to keep it. And they're showing the highlights in the crowd, and you hear that opening guitar lick, and it was just so cool. and hearing his scream at the end of the first chorus going into that main riff, I was like, these guys are dope. And once I was talking to my brother about it, I was like, these guys are cool. He's like, oh, this is Breaking Benjamin, and he has that album. I don't know their
That
albums by
is
name.
the Saturate. We're Not Alone.
Is it We're Not Alone?
No, We're Not Alone is Until the End should be the third album, which is not Phobia. It's same one that has Diary of Jane on it. Why
Yep.
can't
It's that album, but I can't
the
think
Diary album? I cannot think of what the name of that album is. I am the worst fan ever.
of
I mean, I got the album cover in my head.
Phobia.
Is that one Phobia?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dear Agony is the next one. Yes.
Yeah.
Dear Agony is the next one with his brain scan on the cover.
Yeah. So he had that Phobia album, and he played me a couple songs. He played me Diary and Breath and everything, and I was like, these guys are dope. And then that was kind of the end of it. Didn't really like follow it much because my obsession was with wrestling then.
Right.
And just kind of let it be for a while. But that was how I was introduced to Breaking Ben. It didn't really rekindle anything until I met you.
I don't know when I first heard them, if it was on MTV. Yes, MTV used to play is a channel that before they played like reality shows about Chanel West Coast, which I saw on TV today. I don't understand. They used to play these things called music videos that help sell the songs to people who go out and buy physical CDs and cassettes. Anyway,
God, I remember watching.
I don't know if I saw the Polyamorous video before I heard it.
Okay.
But I know at some point 105.7 The X, even back then, was playing it.
Okay.
Because there's these guys coming up. Do you know the story of how they got big? How they even got like a deal?
Do I know it?
Yeah, have you ever heard that story?
No.
Let's do some Breaking Benjamin history.
Let's do it.
Boop. So, the story goes, and this is the story. They are obviously from Northeast PA. They had written some songs. Ben used to do covers and originals. I have a couple bootleg audios somewhere of him doing like Godsmack songs and Rage
really?
in between early versions of the stuff that's on their first album.
Yeah.
They were a 3-piece back then. At some point, Ben decided to go to California and try to make it as a singer-songwriter.
Okay.
And it didn't work out. Obviously, he came back, and that's where he went back to, I got to get a band back together and go record these songs.
Right.
And if anybody out there can, if I'm off on the timeline here, correct me, but these things happen. But they went and recorded it, and there was a local DJ who heard Polyamorous and just started spinning it. Hey, these are local guys. I really dig this song.
Yeah.
And it just kept getting requested and got tons of play and got to someone's ear at Hollywood Records.
Okay.
And that's essentially how they got their deal.
Huh.
Because a local guy was like, I love this band.
Yeah.
I just remember, I know I heard it on the X, and I know I heard it. They might have been 105.7 The Edge back then. I don't remember when the X started. The X started early 2000s. But then Skin, their second single, came out. Well, not their second, technically their third, but I don't get into it. They put out Medicate, and no one really picked it up. That's one of my favorite songs on the first album. And that has more. That's what Ben has called in interviews his pop song, and that's why you'll never hear it live again.
Yeah.
After they got out of that album cycle, he'll never play. He doesn't like it.
Huh.
My wife loves it. A lot of people. I enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah.
But I knew I heard they were coming to Chameleon Club.
Right.
So we went and changed my life, man.
Yeah.
From that day on, I was ruining the ears of every friend who was in my car. Is this all we're listening to? You're damn right.
Absolutely.
I remember the first time I heard So Cold, I was like, oh my God, this is like the coolest thing they've ever written.
Yeah.
That's the song that broke them to the masses.
Yeah.
That's the song people know when they think Breaking Benjamin. If they really dive in, I think the casual people for some reason think Diary of Jane.
Mm-hmm.
That I think by far became their most popular commercial song.
Diary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing song, but it's essentially just the same song.
Yeah.
They always write. I don't want to get into that, but I think I love the first album. Like, I still think that is from start to finish a great album. I just listened to their stuff a couple weeks ago. I just put, like you said, you did at work for a couple days in the car because I keep the CDs in my car.
Right.
Because I like the way they sound in my car better than compressed digital music.
Right.
I put each CD in and just listen to their albums from oldest to newest, right up through the acoustic album they put out.
Aurora.
Yeah. And not only just hearing the change in the stuff. I mean, I had to do that when I learned all their songs. But that first album still is my favorite. But I think Breaking Benjamin's peak songwriting was on Phobia.
Okay, yeah.
The second album was leaps and bounds above the first album. The third album is Ben knew exactly what he was doing. The next album, Dear Agony, has some amazing songs. They were starting to play with heavier tunings.
Yep.
Then they took the breakup, and came back as a 5-piece. And I think their first album back as that band has some cool songs. But Failure's on there and some other stuff. But they're not. You can tell it feels like he was still trying to find his footing with new guys. But the last Ember, when they put Ember out, it has Red Cold River and my third favorite Breaking Benjamin song, Blood, which I wish they would play live or had released because I think more people would dig this. It might be the heaviest song they ever wrote.
I have to listen to it again. I don't remember that one.
It's amazing. That song that album is, you can tell if you followed them like I did and dove so far into the ass of Breaking Benjamin that I know all the things from the other side. I know people are making jokes. It's fine. That is maybe the best they're going to do in that version of the band.
Okay.
Not by far. I think their best songwriting was on Phobia, but I think this is the most growth they'll ever have.
Right.
I think after this, anything they write is just going to be more of that, not beyond that.
Right.
And I'd love for them to prove me wrong, but a lot of people don't know Ben has a ton of health problems, which you wouldn't tell on stage, but that's was a main factor in him not playing guitar as much as he used to. They're a 5-piece now. Ben only plays, we talked about maybe a third of the songs.
Yeah.
Whereas it used to be a 4-piece. He played every song.
Right.
He has whatever his issues are, which I'm told stems from his excessive drinking when he was younger.
Okay.
It seems he has some kind of condition they can't really pin down.
Huh.
Like, one of those like undiagnosed things they can't figure out.
Right.
But he goes through intense nerve pain almost at all times. And it's hard for him to play guitar.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's out there doing it is
Yeah.
one thing. And on top of the fact that he can sit down and write songs still.
Yeah.
He was certain a few years back that he wasn't going to live very long. Then he had a son, and he said in some interviews, in fact, I can get the magazine here behind me, it talks about it. His son kind of changed his outlook as having a kid does.
Yeah.
And he realized that he needs to live for as much as he can. Famously, Breaking Benjamin never played overseas until after Ben's son was born, because Ben is terrified, or was, of planes.
Really?
If they had to play in California, Ben took a bus out, and he met the band out there.
Huh.
They'd flew. He would
I
not
did not
fly.
know that.
He would not fly. They went on tour. He was on the ground.
Yeah.
And sometime after his son born, he realized that, and they started playing overseas a little bit. They're huge in Japan.
I'm sure.
Sounds like a cliche.
Yeah.
But like they're big, but they would never go because Ben wouldn't. So, threat of death and bringing in new life, I guess.
Yeah.
Makes you change your perspective. And now he's got his son playing with him on stage, and
that was so cool.
That's super cool.
He kept calling him Cheech. I thought that was really funny.
I wonder what is. I wonder why that nickname. Anyway, you know what? I don't want to know. That seems like a weird name for an 8-year-old. Maybe because the only Cheech anyone knows is not exactly a role model.
You keep on knocking, but you can't come in.
There it is. I mean, there's a whole generation thinks he's Leo from that '70s show. So
no, that's Chong.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Yeah, that's Tommy Chong.
Yeah, Tommy Chong.
Does anybody know Cheech Marin from anything else but Cheech and Chong? He was on a ton of. He's a hell of an actor. He was in a lot of stuff.
He's also done a lot of voice acting.
Yeah, wow.
Well, he was the hyena in Lion King.
Oh, he's got the resume. It's just that's not what people think of him. I think I'm from Call of Duty now because they put Cheech and Chong in his avatar. Like '70s Cheech and Chong too. When you shoot someone, they turn into a giant rolled blunt. It's the dumbest thing ever. Anyway, kids.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Kids. So anyway, Breaking Benjamin was an excellent thing for you.
Oh, 100%.
We've been talking about doing a Breaking Benjamin episode since like episode 2.
I remember the initial
we were gonna do
poll that came out where it was like
and we've gone to that in a roundabout way because you went to see him.
Yeah.
I said it. If you want to try and do a top 5, how could you top 5 songs you like of theirs? Not necessarily. They don't necessarily be like this is the greatest song they wrote, but 5 songs you really like since we didn't give you any time.
Yeah.
Go.
Let's see. I can't even think of the name of it. Oh, Far Away, the one with Scooter Ward from Cold. Just because I'm a big Cold fan,
right?
And that
his name's Scooter.
Yeah,
that's his actual name.
That song just as a whole is written so well. I love also that you get to hear a different side of Scooter out of that. Somebody stop texting me.
You be buzzing.
I'd be buzzing. But yeah, like I think I enjoy that more because of the Cold aspect of it.
Right.
Because take Scooter out of it, that's a Breaking Ben song. Through and through.
Oh yeah.
Melody and everything. But Scooter's voice adds so much more to that song. But I could talk for
Right.
hours on that. But so Far Away, Red Coal River's up there because that's just a heavy as shit song.
The song was actually the main melody and like the chorus part, the heavy part, was actually written by Aaron, the bass player.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's because this is the album. He actually took ideas from people.
Okay.
And that he said the main melody, that Red Coal River, like heavy stuff.
Yeah.
That was all Aaron. Anyway, nice little sidebar. Things that trivia I know.
Trivia. God, there's so many good ones too, and for me to be like, oh, this one and this one. Breath is in there. Until the End. Until the End is my number one, just because of that was the song that introduced me to them.
That's how it works.
And probably Bow. Yeah,
Bow's
those are probably my five that I would if in this scenario pick top five or pick five songs, those would be my five.
Well, see, I'm going to go deeper cuts here.
Yeah.
I am. I'll start at number one and go backwards. My number one song, as I said earlier, all time, Polyamorous.
Yeah.
That is my jam. I could listen to that song every day over and over. I have the staff notes tattooed on me. I mean,
also known as the Bob Patterson theme song.
Yeah. The song that I first heard of those and will always, that's the song of theirs that I will always be connected to them by.
Right.
Second is Dear Agony. Not only is it a beautiful song from a guy you could tell was going through something.
Good
song. It's one of those. Again, I've talked about this, I think, on the podcast before about songs that elicit an emotional response.
Yep.
No matter how many times you hear them.
Yep.
And that has a tying spot with the version that is on Aurora with Lacey Sturm. That version, hearing her sing with Ben, and it just makes it, and it's stripped down. It feels
revisit that.
A totally different song, but it's the same emotional thing. Yeah.
I'll have to revisit that album on the way home tonight.
I just talked about Blood on Ember. If you've never heard it, go listen to it. I am a huge fan of Simple Design, as I said earlier, on their second album. Something about that. So there's a ton of, just as the kids say, bangers on that album for me. But that is definitely just a song I can listen to. It has just a cool vocal lines going through it, and drank up all my alcohol. This is not a free for all. I love the song, and I find myself going back to that album a lot. And I would say, though, in rounding out five songs of theirs that I absolutely would want to hear all the time, is the only one that probably goes to the real singles besides Polyamorous being their first single, is Diary of Jane.
Oh, yeah.
That's a tight race for me with So Cold, because So Cold will always hold a place for me as the song that made other people understand why I like Breaking Benjamin.
Yeah.
It's just such a good song. I love singing it. I love how somber it is. It fits that Breaking Benjamin. It's heavy and it's somber, but something about it just makes you want to move to it, even though it's not meant to. But I think Diary of Jane's just a better version of that song, if that makes sense.
No, I get you.
It's they figured out why So Cold was worked, and he's like, I've got this other song and this riff. And when I first heard that song, they put out like a teaser of it or something, and you got like the first verse, chorus, and it didn't even sound like him. You could tell his voice was changing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it all sounds like Ben. But at the time, I was like, that sounds so different than the last album. It's so heavy, and
right.
I didn't realize the tuning was different, and like I didn't even key in on that stuff. But that's just, I could make a top 70 songs, and I don't think they have 70 songs. And you never mind, like there's, you go down, like I said, there's kind of two different versions of Dear Agony. Like we listened to it before we started the podcast, that acoustic version of Polyamorous.
Yeah.
I love the way he found different ways to sing that song acoustically.
Yeah.
And I've heard different versions of them doing it live and recorded of that song acoustic, but it just further proves why that's such a good, always proven if a song sounds good in acoustic, it's going to sound good in reverse.
Right.
You can write a heavy song that sounds good stripped down, then you've written a good song. That's what I've always felt.
That was, and that's something that Paul Stanley has always said too. Because I learned that I was watching a documentary of them doing the making of the Unplugged show, of the MTV Unplugged show, and that was their method: is if you can write a good rock and roll song and make it equally as good, if not better, on acoustic, you've written a good rock and roll song. So
yeah, it makes sense, and I think that's how Ben probably sat and wrote all his stuff initially.
Yeah.
So the guy seriously wanted to be a Tool, like wanted to emulate Tool, and he's I think, admitted that. And, his early stuff has a lot of Tool.
Yeah.
The song Phase on their first album starts out sounding like a Tool intro. It's, timpani drums and just weird congas, and it's just a weird buildup. And he's like, my God, this guy loves Tool. And then you hear the old bootlegs I have of him singing Tool songs and stuff. Like, he just, that's what, we all find something we latch onto. I get it. So it's a long road for them. That first album came out in 2001, but the original version of the EP, which not many of us have, that are slightly different versions of 6 of those songs, Polly, Home, some other ones, came out I think in '99. And then he went to Cali, came back and re-recorded the actual album.
Yeah,
pretty sure 2001 is when it came out. I think I saw them in 2002.
Okay. Yeah, when I go on Spotify and you scroll down to their EP section, the farthest it goes is 2003 to the So Cold EP,
which was put out because that has
So Cold acoustic
and some other stuff on it. Yeah,
it's got Ladybug on it, 2 live songs.
2 live songs. Yeah, that was that was an eBay thing. I used to have to go to eBay to find. I have all those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had to go find all those little bootlegs and not bootlegs, but eBay. Some of those, like that So Cold EP. I think that was the one that was Japan only.
Okay.
I had to get it here.
Yeah.
So lots of good stuff. We finally did our Breaking Benjamin episode, and I don't know when we're going to do it. I don't know if we were planning on doing it tonight, but we are going to try and put an acoustic cover.
Yes.
On this episode.
Yes, if we can, that would be really cool to do.
Trying to attach it on the end of this episode. We're up and down about which song we're going to do here. Jake learned a couple, I think, but I think he's got a man boner for until the end right now. So we'll see what we get to, but hopefully we'll get to drop that in here in this episode. We'll be out before next Tuesday.
Yes.
Because that is the end of the month. Well, Wednesday. But in the meantime, I think we're probably up to speed.
I think so.
Got to get some rest. We got to get an acoustic song recorded. Deadpool and Wolverine comes out tomorrow. We are gonna drop the music pretense next time we get together on this, and we maybe just a small episode where we just talk about that movie. And we haven't even seen it yet, and I'm already like, we're gonna do a podcast about it.
Oh, absolutely.
We're not even a movie podcast.
I've already seen there is an end credit scene.
I know that.
Post credit scene.
I was told it was post credits. You do need to stay through. It's a post credit scene.
Yeah. I'm going with my buddy Seth, who he's been a gigantic Marvel fan, and
I know the type. I look in the mirror every day.
And so we had bought the tickets, a month and a half ago now,
right?
And he's been watching all the movies leading up to Friday. Like he did Deadpool 1 and 2.
He's doing all the Fox stuff.
Well, yeah. So he did Deadpool 1. He did Deadpool 2. He's doing Logan tonight.
Oh God, he's gonna be crying like a little baby.
I told him
he's already seen it.
He hasn't even seen it.
He's never seen Logan.
Never seen Logan.
Oh my God, that poor man. The emotional damage he's going through probably while we're recording.
Right this very moment. Because he said going through Logan tonight, I was like, get ready to cry.
Dude, what movie made men cry? Logan.
Yeah.
Also seeing Hugh Jackman in blue and yellow. But dude, the child in me is so,
and getting Tyler Mane back.
Everything about it is just they're clicking all the boxes, checking all the boxes. I've seen some early non-spoiler reviews because the premiere was last night. A couple of the film people I follow on TikTok and stuff.
Yeah.
And basically said, without ruining it, no one's going to hear this before the movie is out anyway.
Yeah.
That if people think Marvel is back, he doesn't necessarily, the one guy who I like his reviews, doesn't necessarily say that he would agree with that, but this movie wants you to think Marvel is back, and it does that perfectly. And it's a perfect love letter to these characters and exactly what they should have done. Like, nothing positive. My son explained to me that he saw that IGN or somebody gave it a 4 out of 10. But like every other website's like 8 and up.
Yeah.
Like there's just some asshole who doesn't even know what he's watching.
Yeah. Some guy who hasn't followed it since the beginning. I
hate Ryan Reynolds because my wife thinks he's hot. This movie sucks.
Yeah.
Even with the ugly face, he's still hot apparently. I do love the promotional stuff these guys are doing.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like the different. I saw them there cooking with Gordon Ramsay. And
did you see their Bachelor one?
Yeah,
the Bachelor ad where it's Hugh Jackman laying on the couch.
And they're just doing the like all these press tours where they're asking them to do random. I saw one yesterday where like, you guys have been doing this a while, so how about we do something fun? So Ryan, you read lines from Hugh's movies and vice versa, and the other guy's to guess, see if he can remember his own movie. And I only saw the clip up to of just Ryan Reynolds doing it.
Yeah.
And Hugh Jackman got every movie. He's like, was that Kate and Leopold? Was that this? He's like,
Yeah.
and Ryan Reynolds did some too. He's like, I think that was the proposal. He's like, yes, how do you remember? Like from one line, like
Yeah.
it's just stuff like that. Those guys are so fun. I saw a video today, which I think I sent you. Do you know the deleted scene where he in Deadpool 1, 2, where he's telling the story to Fred Savage? Like it looks like it's, and he's goes off about Nickelback. You ever seen that deleted scene?
Yes, and he's like Nickelback. He's
and he just goes through all their accolades, all the awards they won and stuff.
I do remember.
There was a video, and I sent it to you today. I don't know if you saw it yet.
Oh,
where Nickelback, they're doing a press. It's like, we have a video for you. And it's Nickelback doing that same skit in reverse about Deadpool. They're all wearing the masks. They're like, can't talk. I was like, the amount of love that Deadpool gets for a character that shouldn't
get
mainstream popularity. He shouldn't be as popular as he is for what he is.
Right.
He's not a good guy. Like, I guess they make him a good guy in general.
Yeah.
But like, he murders people and he says bad things.
Just the mark with a mouth.
And he was never meant to be like a kid's book.
Oh yeah, no.
But somehow he is beloved around the world. And God, I love that they're going to move forward in the MCU and stuff with the mutant age. And Kevin Feige saying it. But I'm sad because we're about out of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I had given up. I had signed off on Logan. Like I know he's not physically what Wolverine is in the books. He's not 5'3", and
right.
But he was perfect from the day one.
He was Wolverine.
He is for 2 generations probably. He is Wolverine.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I don't think it's the last movie he'll be in, no matter what they say. I think they're gonna he's gonna pop up somewhere. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think the joke that you saw the clip where someone was like, "That's Wolverine," and Deadpool, like the little kid's like, "Yeah, Disney brought him out of retirement. They're going to make him do this till he's 90. And it's kind of funny because I bet, if they do these big crossover things later on, the Secret Wars and all that, I'll bet he pops up. Marvel is asking to not make money if they don't have at least him, like Tobey Maguire, like all these legacy characters show up in some kind of multiverse crazy movie before they tie all those loose ends up.
Now, you know what we need? We need a Hulk crossover with Eric Bana.
No.
And Edward Norton.
Eric Bana is not allowed to ever portray Bruce Banner again, and he says he won't. He physically said, "I won't ever do that again." Just recently, they asked him about it because all the cameos. He said, "No, I've been long done with that." And Ed Norton and Marvel want to burn each other down, so Ed Norton's never going to show up for that. And beyond that, Ed Norton's Bruce Banner is technically the canonical MCU Hulk, so he can't be there if Ruffalo's there.
Fair.
But I would love to see Wolverine and the Hulk on the same.
I heard
screen.
that's a possibility.
Oh God, I hope.
I heard that there might be a possibility of a 181.
Well, we need to have a whole separate episode about what's coming because I'd love to spend some time talking about Captain America and
oh my God, yeah,
New World Order. Maybe we should have a Marvel episode. Maybe I'll just
make
the back half of this a separate episode.
Marvel side episode.
So right after we'll do that when we're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. So
yeah,
hey, I think that's probably it though because we're running along in the tooth again. So the tooth. So if you've got anything else,
I think that's it.
All right. Well, as always, I'm Bob.
I'm Jake,
and we have been Nailed the Podcast. Later.
See you.
I was gonna do my damnedest to drop this down to an hour. I looked over like 20 minutes. We're talking about Breaking Bad. We're almost done. 40 minutes. 1 hour later. So.
Nailed it.